An aging couple visit an adoption center to adopt a kid. When they visit the children, they aren't able to pick a child. However, as they walk away, the wind takes the lady's bonnet away. A teenage boy from the orphanage picks the headpiece for the lady. Then, she and her husband compliment the boy's good looks. However, they make the decision not to select a child based on physical attractiveness. The attractive youngster is seen again by the couple as they drive home, this time helping a puppy from the rain. This generous gesture of his solidified their decision to adopt the young kid. The couple decides to help the youngster unpack when he arrives at their home. The couple gives in to his insistence that he unpack on his own, though. The youngster begins to unpack a box as soon as the couple leaves the room. His identical twin then emerges from the box. The two of them work together to unpack, and their efficiency astounds the elderly man. Soon after, we observe Migi and Dali, the twins, dividing up chores and rewards. They make a collective decision to play a part in winning over the Sonoyamas. The elderly man expresses to his wife his desire to carry Hitori, and the twins overhear this. On the other hand, the elderly lady has expressed an interest in pie making with Hitori. The identical twins then proceed to the next phase of their plan. Initially, the twins together help the woman bake a cherry pie together without her knowledge that the boy is actually two boys. As a consequence, the twins impress her. Following this, the twins help the old man carry one of the twins without letting the old man feel any strain on his back. Since the old man's wish was granted, he is also overjoyed. The twins are seen planning in their bedroom. They talk about doing the tasks and then decide not to get overly confident about their accomplishments. Migi and Dali are still acting as though they are the same person. In spite of nearly being discovered, they are able to keep up their cover. The Sonoyamas are throwing a surprise party to welcome Hitori, as we soon learn. Migi and Dali sense that the Sonoyamas are keeping something from them. Following that, they're on high alert. Later that day, the Sonoyamas leave to make some preparations for the party. Since Migi and Dali have no idea what is going on, they investigate every room in the house. They then discover Mrs. Sonoyama's collection of wigs. Since she seems to have an appreciation for their hair, they worry that she could be attempting to take it. Shortly after, the Sonoyamas return home. Migi and Dali then overhear them speaking about the welcome party. At the welcoming celebration, they conclude the Sonoyamas will steal their hair. After this, Migi and Dali devise a scheme to reprimand the Sonoyamas. Migi and Dali take turns playing Hitori during the party. When they finally decide to let loose on the Sonoyamas later that day, they find out that they've purchased Hitori a bike as a gift. As a consequence, they abort their plan. Migi and Dali's true motivation for staying with the Sonoyamas is revealed as they want to find the person who killed their mother. They leave their house at night to look for their mother. We receive a glimpse of the past. We learn more of Migi and Dali's mother's murder, expanding on the cliffhanger from the previous episode. In the present timeline, the Sonoyamas suggest that Hitori socialized with a bunch of kids. So, Migi and Dali decide to use this to their advantage and track out the killer of their mum. Migi and Dali are familiar with the house where their mother was murdered since they had doodled there and remember the designs on the walls. Consequently, they want to make their way into the homes of their peers in an effort to identify the murderer's home. Migi and Dali, disguised as one boy, Hitori, decide to get out with several other guys in an effort to broaden Hitori's social circle. However, these boys are rather mean and won't befriend them. Nevertheless, Akiyama develops a soft spot for Hitori and accepts his friendship request in the end. Following this, Hitori asks if he can come over to his home, and he graciously accepts. While one stays with Akiyama to keep him company, the other investigates the home to determine if it is the one where their mother was murdered. Unfortunately, it isn't the home, and they eventually leave. Following that, they take cherry pie to Maruta's home. The twins then apply the same method to determine whether or not their mother was murdered in Maruta's home. Dali gets even with Maruta for mistreating Migi. Eventually, though, they don't find the clues they are looking for, and they leave. Hitori meets the household maid, Mrs. Mitsuyama, nicknamed Mikkan. Mikkan continues to barrage Hitori with questions, including his favorite meal from his mother's cooking. In an effort to make the best of a bad situation, Hitori asks her some questions about the homes where she does cleaning work. She flat out refuses to tell him anything, shattering his expectations. Following this, Migi and Dali are shown plotting to track down the person responsible for their mother's death. They then devise a plan to gather information from Mikkan about their mother's killer by dressing as Mrs. Sonoyama and donning her wig. Michan is then questioned by the twins regarding the wallpapers at the home of her clients. Mikkan accidentally reveals that the Ichijo family actually has the described wallpaper in their home. The two siblings are determined to finally uncover the truth. The The twins make an effort to become friends with Igi Ichio, but he avoids socializing with dimwits, though. The twins, hoping to gain his friendship, resolve to do very well on their next tests. In addition, Dali dresses as a woman to pressure Migi into studying hard. Dali, pretending to be Sally, advises Migi that the only way to win her affection is to show a degree of intelligence. His plan seems to work, and Migi excels in the tests to prove to Sally that he is smart. Migi and Dali learn that they had previously topped the exam. As a consequence, Hitori and the Sonoyamas are invited to Ichijo's home. Migi and Dali decide to split up in order to investigate the suspected involvement of the Ichijo family in their mother's death. While having a meal with the Sonoyamas, one of them distracts the Ichijo family by being present. However, the other one investigates the house. Eiji, however, begins to suspect Hitori of taking his pendant during the course of the meal. After he confesses, he is kept locked in a room of the house until he learns to be better. Dali can be seen wandering around the house while Migi is locked up, looking for evidence of the drawing they made when their mother was still alive. The space where Migi is imprisoned happens to have a design. Consequently, he breaks down in tears. Dali and Michan sneak around the house when the Ichijo family is gone. They end up finding a secret room wherein there's a small replica of the entire town with actual families in their separate homes. As they get closer to the truth, they hear approaching footsteps. Mikan tells Dali to hide in a box. After some time has passed, Dali leaves the box and finds Mikan's doll broken on the floor. Migi is trapped within the room while Dali continues his search of the house. Migi discovers that the matriarch Reiko practices behavior modification and begins to adopt a childlike persona in order to extract information from her. On the other hand, Dali is quite hungry. Interestingly, the family dog is aware of this, and so she feeds him some of her food. Dali has no other option but to take the kibble that the pet offers him. Hitori's performance has Mrs. Reiko convinced that he has begun to perceive himself as a young child. She then extends an invitation for him to join the family for a meal. Following that, she promises to send him back to the Sonoyamas the following day. Since Migi and Dali failed to uncover the truth previously, they decide to give it one final try that night. In their search for answers, they discover that Eiji may have been responsible for their mother's death. Migi and Dali return to the Sonoyama home the following day. Migi, posing as Hitori, pretends to be sick during the family supper. Now that Dali is very hungry, he switches places with him. Following that, Mrs. Sonoyama gives Dali a piece of cherry pie, and the episode comes to an end.